The international rights organization Human Rights Watch tells the Cameroon government to immediately publish information on revenues, disbursement and management of its Health Solidarity Fund. The organization suspects corruption, mismanagement and embezzlement. The rights organization is also condemning what it qualifies as the crackdown on the political leaders in the Republic of Cameroon and the settling of scores by the government through the coronavirus pandemic. Thanks, dear viewers, for joining us on this edition of the news on Équinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan. We begin in the northern regions of the Republic of Cameroon, where a storm has caused a disaster in some institutions in that part of the Republic of Cameroon, and strong winds have blown off a section of the roof of Government Bilingual High School Mora in the far north region of the country, and some administrative institutions were equally affected by the storm. Innocent
Most states of a section of Government's Bilingual High School Mora in the Mayo Sava division of the far north region, a consequence of strong winds that swept across the educational establishment over the weekend, affecting principally the Anglophone section and the 3 administrative offices.
Lorsqu'on était venu dans la matinée,
we arrived on campus this Monday morning and were shocked by the devastation. It has been impossible to move on with studies. I believe if we had trees planted all over the school, this destruction wouldn't have occurred, leaving my schoolmates in frustration. We beg competent authorities to help give the ravaged sections another roofs.
Comme il n'y a pas le plan, le vent est venu rapporter détruire notre établissement.
Enormous material damage has been recorded, especially in offices of administrators.
Et c'est pas la première fois que nous vivons.
It is not the first time this is occurring. It happens every year. We have been trying to manage the impacts, but right now, this one is above our capacities. As of now, the delegates and 2 other administrators have seen their offices destroyed.
Général aussi la salle de réunion est aussi touchée. Pratiquement, la délégation est complètement à genoux pour le moment.
According to the divisional delegates of sports and physical education, they have addressed a letter to the Minister of Secondary Education to see into the situation.
Et nous avons suggéré si on peut.
We have expressed our wishes if another structure could be given us. These ones are very old. Only one office is somehow fine, and it is where we have preserved documents. The roof of this office could be carried away in case of another strong wind this rainy season. Authorities of GBHS Mora are now urgently awaiting reaction of hierarchy, so they continue preparing for end-of-year examinations not far from now.
At a time when the coronavirus pandemic is sweeping across the Republic of Cameroon from the north to the south, from the east to the west, several parts of the country are still suffering from the problem of inadequate potable water supply. And we're going to take you to Ngaoundiri in the Adamawa region of the country, where there is acute water shortage at a time when authorities and other leaders are urging the population to wash their hands as frequently as possible to prevent the spread of the coronavirus in the country. You know, for me, I'm Strong Standard reports.
City of Ngaoundiri, chief town of the Adamawa region of Cameroon, a renowned watershed, is in a water crisis. Inhabitants say their taps have been dry for over 3 weeks, and the few inconsistent drops from their taps are colored, raising concerns on the quality of water provided in Ngaoundiri. In major neighborhoods like Burkina, Bamoun and Balaji, tap water is colored, leaving inhabitants frustrated. Several water points across the city have remained dry, and inhabitants of major neighborhoods of the city say they are thirsty and want to drink water. This is where we normally fetch water since it is free. But look down, there is no water. What do we do? The few wells existing in the city are dirty. What do we do? Obliged to go several kilometers in search of the precious liquid, inhabitants say the water scarcity is adversely affecting their strict implementation of the regular hand washing against COVID-19. Teachers in Gaundere say taps in schools within the city went dry a few days after classes began, and they are worried of teaching and learning in a water-scarce environment. At the Adamawa regional delegation of the company in charge of water supply, officials say the water scarcity has been provoked by construction works on major streets across the city.
Government's management of the coronavirus pandemic in the Republic of Cameroon, international rights organization Human Rights Watch is raising concerns over government's management of its health solidarity fund, and the organization is indicating that there are lots of questions as far as this is concerned. Take a listen to the Human Rights Watch senior researcher for Central Africa, Ilaria Alegrossi.
The fund was created in 1993, and since then primary care facilities have paid mandatory contribution to this fund without the government apparently releasing any information about this fund or disbursing any money from it. So basically for over 25 years, health facilities have paid 10% of their revenues every month to this fund, but the government has not published any information about the use, management and disbursements from this fund, which makes it highly vulnerable to corruption, misuse and mismanagement. We are not the first one to sound the alarm. 2 years ago, the World Bank published a report raising concerns about the same issues, about the management and use of the money in this fund, and raised concern that the transfers to this fund are a key source of revenue side inefficiency, which is basically risks of corruption and mismanagement.
Ilaria Alegrossi, senior researcher for Human Rights Watch in Central Africa, speaking there, and the organization also thinks that it is time for the government of the Republic of Cameroon to publish information on the disbursements and of course the management of the Health Solidarity Fund. 25 years have elapsed since health facilities began contributing to this initiative, but there is no accountability, no information on what has been happening, and this gives indications that corruption, mismanagement and embezzlement could be going on as far as the management of this public money is concerned. Take a listen to Ilaria Alegrossi once more.
Are asking now the government to release any information available about this fund, about the revenues, about the disbursement and management. Now in particular, given the COVID-19 pandemic, given the emergency created by the COVID-19 pandemic, it is more important than ever to release information about this fund and also to disburse any money to support the health facilities, which are in some cases in desperate need of basic equipment and material to treat the sick. We have tried to seek a response from the Minister of Health to specific questions about the fund. We wrote him a letter and they have acknowledged reception without, however, responding to any of our questions so far. We waited up to a month before publishing our press release on the Solidarity Fund in order to give the government enough time to respond, but we did not receive any answer. We have interviewed 8 medical staff, doctors and nurses across Cameroon. We asked them to provide us information about the Solidarity Fund, and we were surprised to hear that very little information was available, meaning that all medical staff basically knew about the fund, confirmed that facilities keep paying the 10% every month, but they had no idea about the money and what the money was used for. We think that this lack of transparency is particularly problematic because the fund's revenues largely come from patient fees that drive up the cost of healthcare. This is public money, and that's why the government should urgently clarify whether any money from this fund has been lost to corruption or misuse, and also establish clear accountability and transparency requirements to prevent any mismanagement and any risk of corruption.
The President of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manauda Malachi, the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Jangute, and other health authorities have been calling for a united front against the coronavirus pandemic. But Human Rights Watch thinks that there is no unity in the COVID-19 response in the Republic of Cameroon because government is using the pandemic to settle scores and to crack down on opposition politicians. A lot still has to be done to bring down the curve of the COVID-19 pandemic, says Human Rights Watch.
We believe Cameroon has done significant effort to curb the spread of the virus by increasing its testing capacities, by rolling out public health care campaigns across the country, by informing the population on confirmed cases, and this was very positive. I think that the Minister of Health has done a very good job in informing the public on progress to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. However, at the same time, we believe that more needs to be done to make sure that health facilities are equipped adequately and sufficiently to respond to the pandemic. We spoke to doctors and nurses who reported severe shortages in hospitals, goods and equipment, from disinfectants to thermometers, ventilators, oxygen. This is very important also to be addressed in order to curb the spread of the virus. We also believe that in times of crisis, it is more important than ever to have a united political front and send a message of solidarity. However, this seems at times to be problematic in Cameroon, where the government has used the pandemic to settle scores and punish and crack down on opposition parties by blocking or countering any fundraising initiatives and also donations from opposition-sponsored actions and initiatives.
And Cameroon is now counting close to 10,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19. On to something else now. 6 suspected pirates and now in the drag nets of the Rapid Intervention Battalion. They were neutralized by elements of the B on Cameroon's territorial waters in Bakassi in the southwest region over the weekend. Derek Jato reports.
Sources from the Rapid Intervention Battalion build data say elements of this elite unit of the Cameroon Armed Forces intercepted a 6-man sea pirate here in the waters of Edabato, a subdivision in the Bakassi area of Ndian Division in the southwest region of Cameroon at the weekend. The interception took place at night during the element routine patrols. All the 6 suspected sea pirate, sources say, were neutralized by build data, and these items are said to have been taken from them: ammunitions, charms, marijuana, 3 million naira and 1,250,000 francs CFA. The naturally endowed Bakassi before the station of this elite unit of the Cameroon Armed Forces in the area. The zone was famous for sea pirate activities, and build data, among other things, has as assignment to make these Cameroon territorial waters a pirate-free zone.
Derek Jato reporting the 3 alleged bandits involved in the stealing and selling of vehicles have been arrested by elements of the National Armed Forces. They are said to have been involved in the stealing and selling of vehicles between the 2 major cities of Cameroon, the political capital Yaoundé and the economic capital Douala. The 3 were caught recently and they were tracked down by elements of the National Gendarmerie. Details with Smanji Kangebre.
It was a very long night for the elements of the Mobile Intervention Police Unit, GMI-2 of Bonanjo, Friday breaking Saturday, after receiving an alert of a stolen car in Yaoundé within the day. Thanks to the car tracker, those who stole the car were apprehended at the New Bell neighborhood in the Douala 2 subdivision.
We have been having complaints that vehicles are currently stolen in Douala and they take the direction of Yaoundé, while in Yaoundé they steal also in Yaoundé and they come to Douala. So we got that information on time. I and my hierarchy, we set up a team on the various entrances into the region. And when the bandits came in, they went straight to the hideout neighborhood around New Bell. So at about 4 a.m. in the morning, we were opportune to get them right-handed. 2 of the suspects were inside the car, getting ready to go to the point where they had to meet with the person who had to receive the vehicle.
Due to the nightfall, the officers returned to New Bell neighborhood Saturday to check the residence of Ali Abba, who is usually the first to receive the leader of the gang when he brings a car. At his residence, several tools used in breaking into cars were seen, amongst them a telephone owned by the gang leader. Through the telephone, the 3rd person, who is the reseller, Abdullahi, was called and caught by the police officers. Apart from the tools used in opening the vehicles, some supernatural items were also seized by the security forces. After the arrest of the 3rd person, all 3 alleged gang group were later presented to the public by the elements of the Mobile Intervention Police Unit, GMI-2.
I'm giving a strong message as one of the company commanders of this unit that we will not stop our fight in the fight against armed robbery and other criminals. I want to use this opportunity to our regional hierarchy for all the efforts, all the support and the materials that he has put at our disposition to make sure that we track all these men of the underground web.
The security officers have opened an investigation to lay hands on other members involved in this chain of business.
Suspected bandits arrested by elements of the Mobile Intervention Police Unit here in Cameroon's economic capital Douala, and they are continuing to track down other persons suspected to be involved in the activity of stealing and selling of vehicles between Yaoundé and Douala. Coming up, we take a look at the way out of the 4-year-long Anglophone crisis. And Dr. Nick Nguyen, politician, educationist, thinks that the only way out is confederation. Take a listen to it.
We have to use a new term, a new tool that got mature in the last 50 years or slightly more than that. And that's the term called confederation. Confederation is very much like federation, but it's slightly different. And when you say confederation, it brings on board some specific things that will never be missing. It's like cooking a soup and making sure that there is salt in it. It doesn't matter what it is, there must be salt in it. And it is that salt that makes the specificity of confederation. Federation and confederation are like cake and bread. They are like cake and bread. You know, you cannot say a cake is a bread, but they are all made of flour. But there's some specificities about each of them. That's the thing. So when we are talking about a federation. A federation, it has to do with a breakup of one nation into functional units. It's a breakup of one nation into functional units. That is very important to keep in mind. While a confederation is not a breakup of one nation, rather a coming together of independent states to form one nation. That is where the difference lies. A federation is the tool that is used when one solid nation is breaking up into functional units for better management.
And what are the specific features of the confederal system? We put this question, of course, to Dr. Nick, and this is what he said.
A confederation, the starting point is that you have two states that decide to come together and live together. That's the main difference. And therefore, what we need in Cameroon is not a federation, but a confederation, so that we can keep our differences, as they are, and still see how we live together and manage our lives together. Now, when you come together under a confederation, there are a couple of things that you agree on. First, you stay apart. Everybody has got his or her police force. You have your education. You have your health services. You have your own money, currency. You have your own economy, and you have your prime minister. Because under these circumstances, the two states cannot have presidents. There's only one president in a republic. Each state will have a prime minister. Each state will have their state parliament and state assembly. But there will be a national assembly, a national government with national ministers. And in this case, when you have a president coming from this state, the vice essentially comes from the other state. And the president or the speaker of the house or the president of the parliament does not come from the same state at any time with the president.
And we wrap up this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television with this advertorial on the Intericon Cooperative Credit Union. The microfinance institution is breaking new grounds and making greater exploits and achievements in its efforts to reduce poverty in Cameroon by raising the poor out of the slums. And this is why it won the Guardian Post 2019 Best Microfinance Institution Award.
Interest on savings and lowest interest on loans, for championing the economic growth of individuals and small and medium-sized enterprises in Cameroon. And that award goes to the Intericon Cooperative Credit Union Limited.
With over 40 years of growing microfinance and economic experience, the Intericon Cooperative Credit Union Limited maintains its leadership position in Cameroon. The institution's constant strive to reduce the wide gap between the rich and the poor through poverty alleviation earned it the 2019 Guardian Post Award.
We had 4 categories in the finance category, and want to say that they overwhelmingly voted for Intericon Cooperative Credit Union for the simple reason that it is a finance institution that takes care both for the ordinary persons, the buy and sellers, that they're able to invest their money, and when they come back they realize that they have so much interest.
With this award, we want to tell our clients, our members and our would-be members that this brings us great joy, and this comes to encourage us and to tell them that we are going to do all innovations, all necessary innovations to bring them satisfactions even as time unfolds.
The Intericon Cooperative Credit Union has qualified staff serving the public in 6 regions of Cameroon.
To be a member of the credit union is just to register with a share capital of 50,000 francs and a registration of 7,500 francs. We have branches in 6 of the regions of Cameroon, namely in the Northwest region, in the West region, in the Southwest, in the Littoral, Central and the East region. We pay 6% on interest, on savings, and we have been paying that for the past years. And that is what we are still budgeting to pay this year. despite the crisis, we are still trying to make sure that we satisfy our members as much as possible.
The microfinance institution is using up-to-date technology to make money available for clients at all times.
We have Visa cards that those who are out of these areas where I mentioned, where our offices are found, can still do business by using our Visa cards to withdraw from any ATM machine that is around them. And the rate of withdrawal is very cheap. It's very affordable because prepaid card, even those who do not have accounts can also own the Visa cards of the credit union. And so we call on all the members and would-be members to come and benefit from these facilities that we offer at very cheap rates.
Officials of the enterprise have put in all the necessary anti-COVID-19 measures to ensure the safety of both employees and clients. Tarinkun Cooperative Credit Union Limited sets the pace and others follow.
A demonstration of Cameroon's rich cultural heritage. Thanks for staying with us. Goodbye.